Hello there. For those of you who are new to my video series, my name is Dr. Bill Crawford. I'm a psychologist, speaker, author of 7 books, host of 2 PBS specials. And each week I try to bring you a new tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity to everything you do. Today I want to look at the difference between reacting and responding. Now, I'm not the first person to talk about this. Most people have looked at this and said, yeah, it's better to respond than to react. And I get that, because when the reaction is negative, when it's anger, when it's stress, when it's frustration, when it's annoyance, depression, worry, we're not doing that on purpose, we're just reacting that way, and that's not good. But have you noticed there are other reactions? How do we react to a baby's smile? How do we react to a loved one's touch? Those are also reactions. We're not doing them on purpose, but they're positive. So what I like to do, ask myself, and what I like to do in terms of helping others is say, okay, what part of the brain are these reactions coming from? Do we want to serve them? Do we want to change them? Do we want to keep them? Do we want to change them? Because, for those of you who follow my life from the top of the mind philosophy, you know we got these 2 parts of the brain. We got the brainstem. This is where our reactions of fight or flight come from, our anger, our resentment, our frustration, our annoyance. That's that fight. Or depression, or withdrawal, or worry, or feeling overwhelmed, that's the flight. Whenever we're coming from the brainstem, reacting from the brainstem in a way that we wouldn't recommend to someone we love, that's a good thing to change. That's a good thing to be aware of, because we're not doing it on purpose, and it's not serving us. It's not helping us create the life we want. When we find ourselves reacting in positive ways, we don't have to do a thing, because the brain is actually wired to do that. We can just let that reaction happen and happen and happen, or act and react and react and react. That's where the word react comes from, or reacting or acting again. Responding is a little bit different. It comes from the word sponder, or to sponsor. So that's where correspondence comes from. People are corresponding. They're responding to each other, answering each other. Almost there's a component of purposefulness there, a pledge, an answer, a sponsor. So I think we want to ask ourselves the question, as we go through life, do we want to be very purposeful about what we're sponsoring, the qualities and characteristics we're bringing to life? And if so, maybe we want to respond a little bit more than react, at least in those situations where the reaction had triggered that negative response. So when we can begin to get clear about, okay, then what would be a more purposeful response to this? If we say, hey, am I getting stressed, anxious, or frustrated on purpose? Is it working for me? Is it helping me create the life I want? Would I recommend that to someone I love? If the answer to what I call the 4 criteria is no, 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 and no, we can say, okay, what if I were responding to this situation on purpose in a way that I believe would be more effective? In a way that does define who I am, in a way I would recommend to those I love. What would that look like? What would that be like? And then we can begin to respond purposefully. We can begin to sponsor a certain way of being purposefully, and respond and respond and respond and respond until it becomes a reaction, you see? The thing we do over and over and over and over becomes a habit. Wouldn't it be great if we were bringing certain qualities and characteristics to life on a regular basis, just out of habit, that define who we are on purpose and those that we would teach to those we love? If so, I think life is going to give us plenty of opportunities to practice. What we've got to be willing to do is to make sure that we are practicing on purpose, that we are responding on purpose, that we are sponsoring a way of being with people, and especially difficult people, difficult situations, in a way we would treat and teach to those we love. If this is something you find valuable, what I'm going to encourage you to do is look at the areas in your life and see how we might have found ourselves reacting in ways that we wouldn't recommend to those we love, and see how we want to change that. And begin to practice, at least first in your mind, if I were doing that differently, what would it look like? And then use life as a place to practice. That has you coming from what I call the top of the mind, this very purposeful part of who we are, this upper 80% of who we are. And as we do that over and over and over, we rewire our brain. We create new neural pathways that go from our limbic system up to our neocortex versus our limbic system down to our brainstem. And this just becomes natural. This becomes our habit. This is what I do. I get to go around the world teaching this system to people. I go to organizations and companies and with individuals and families and I teach them how to be more purposeful, more responsive versus reactive, until that new response becomes a reaction, and then, hey, it's all done, right? Now we can just sit back and enjoy what we've created. If you want me to do that with your organization, your family, with you, all you've got to do is go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, hit the contact button, let me know what you're interested in. Love to talk with you about that. If you're liking these videos, please hit the like button. You know how YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest love it when you like it. Share it with your friends if you think it would be valuable. If you have a comment or a question, feel free to leave that below. I love to read your comments and questions. This is what I do each week, and I hope you're finding it valuable. So, in the meantime, here is to you, bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity, more purposefulness to everything you do, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.